Hi, guys. Today we're going to start getting into chapter three. It's our introduction to ecology. Thank you for your flexibility yesterday. There were some complications and you guys adapted, so I really appreciate that. If we go into the ecology folder, you'll see the ecology lesson slideshow posted right here because there is so much content in this unit. I do have things in the slideshow broken up just a little bit. So you're going to want to go into the chapter 3 section and then click on 3.1 lesson slideshow. And that's going to take you into the content that we're going to cover in chapter 3. All right. So in chapter 3, we ask ourselves the question, what is ecology? And ecology really is a study of relationships, is a study of interactions among organisms, populations, communities, and how they interact with the environment. I selected this graphic to share with you because it's a reminder that we study systems of related parts in biology. We study how related parts work together and there's a hierarchy. So, first, we know that groups of atoms are the smallest unit of chemical compounds, and we've got water, we've got little molecules. Cells are the smallest functional unit of life. So those molecules come together. Remember the ingredients of living things with our carbohydrates, lipids, nucleic acids, and proteins. Those ingredients of life come together and form cells. Groups of cells form tissues, organs, and organ systems. And then the tissues form organ systems, and organ systems make organisms, an individual living thing. Here is where we start talking about ecological situations. A group of organisms of one type that live in the same area are a population. Populations that live in a defined area are a community. So, different hawks, snakes, bison, prairie dogs, all the grass, all the living things in an area make up a community. The community and its non living elements, such as the air, the rocks, the stream, that makes up an ecosystem. And then the biosphere, sphere, sphere, bio, living thing. The biosphere is the part of the earth that contains life. So it contains all of the all of the ecosystems. So those are your levels of organization. And we primarily think about these levels from organism on up when we talk about ecology. All right. So when we say environment, we have to think about what we mean by environment. Here's some vocab for you. The environment is made up of two factors, biotic factors and abiotic factors. And remember, throughout this course, you've learned that oftentimes in biology, we put an A or an N in front of a word and it turns it into its opposite word. So bio means living thing. Biotic factors are all of the organisms that inhabit Earth. Abiotic factors are all of the non living parts of the environment, soil, rocks, things like that. Here's another graphic that gets into biotic versus abiotic factors. Anything living is going to go into the biotic category. And remember, plants, bacteria, those are living things. Abiotic are all of the non living factors in an ecosystem: pH levels, water, soil, sunlight, minerals. When we study ecology, we think about the global systems that are constantly interacting with each other. And you see all these little arrows coming this way and that way because it wants you to see that they all affect each other, they all impact each other. This is a relationship between the four global systems. The four global systems are the atmosphere. This is the gaseous layer surrounding the earth, the biosphere, the part of Earth that life can exist, the hydrosphere, hydro means water, and then the geosphere, which when you think about like geology, the continents, the rocks, the ocean floor. Okay, so those are the four global systems that are constantly interacting with each other. When we study these global systems, we now add a layer called the causes of global change. It's a ring that represents a combination of human activities and non human elements that drive changes in the Earth's global system. All right, so we're going to be looking closely at causes of global change because the human activities and non human events impact all four of these Earth's global systems. When we study ecology, it's a little bit different than any other branch of science because a lot of ecology is studied outside of a laboratory. And you have to think about different ways to conduct experiments and different ways to observe what's happening. So, ecologists rely on three methods in their work. Each of these approaches relies on scientific methodology to guide inquiry. So, we're still adhering to the scientific method, even though we're outside, we're not in a lab. First, you've got your observation. Some observations are real simple, like what lives here? How many individual species are there? Okay. Others are more complex. How do these animals protect their young? Things like that. The next is experiments. An ecologist may, for example, set up an artificial environment in a laboratory or a greenhouse to see how growing plants react to different conditions of temperature, lighting, carbon dioxide. Other experiments carefully alter conditions in selected parts of natural ecosystems. And finally, modeling. Any ecological events, such as effects of global warming, occur over long periods of time. They're difficult to study directly. Ecologists make models to help them understand the specific phenomenon. Many ecological models are made from mathematical formulas based on data and observation. All right, that ends this part of chapter